Hey everyone, today we are going to be going through $300 in $1 bills. They're in 3 bank straps of $100 each, and we're going to be looking for cool serial numbers, any old currency, any errors on the bills, and star notes. So we'll go ahead and get started here, and I'm going to open this up, and as I go through the bills, I'm going to fast forward the video, and then I will bring it back to real time and go through any cool finds that I come across. All right, I am done searching through that first bank strap of $1 bills, and it was pretty uneventful. I didn't find any star notes. There was no older currency. The few things I did find, I have laid out here, so we'll just go through these. The first thing was the serial number on this one. It is just comprised of 8 unique digits. I come across these occasionally. It's not that they're super rare or anything like that, but this bill is in pretty decent shape, so if this is kind of something that you're looking to collect, this would be a bill that would probably fit the profile here. It does have a fold in it, but nonetheless, just wanted to point that out. Moving on to the next one. This is referred to as a scattered ladder or a broken ladder. The serial number, it has 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in it. They are just out of order, so if it was a true ladder, it would be consecutive digits in order. It could be any combination of digits. And in this case, since they're out of order, it's referred to as the scattered ladder. This bill's pretty roughed up, but this is another thing that could be collectible to some people. And moving on now to this bill, it has triple pairs, which I think is pretty cool. The 7, 7, 5, 5, and 0, 0. It does have some folds in it, but it's crisp and not much for creasing or anything like that. So this could definitely be collectible to some. And then this next one here, it is called a trinary because it's made up of, the serial number is made up of 3 different digits, the 1, 8, and 6. And these are neat. This bill, unfortunately, it has some staining on it, so it's not anything I'm going to hold on to, but when I come across these for myself, I do like to hold on to them, but not this one. I'm going to pass up on this one. Then we have one example here of what's referred to as a gas pump or an odometer error. You can see how this 5 on the end, it's shifted higher than the rest of the serial number. It's not overly significant by any means. There's definitely more severe cases. So this isn't anything really that I'm gonna hold on to. I just wanted to point out things that I do watch out for. And then this last pile, just some issues with inking on the serial numbers. So I've pointed this out before in other videos of mine that the 2013 and 2017 bills, this is common to see in the 2nd and 3rd digit. So you can see this heavier over inking in the 9 on the upper serial number, and it might even be a little bit on the 5 in the lower serial number, but it's kind of borderline of what would be seen as common for the amount of over inking that's occurring here. So I don't know that it's necessarily something I'm going to hold on to, but I'm just pointing that out because it's noticeable. This next example is much more noticeable. This is something I will hold on to. This 8 is quite obvious that there's a lot of over inking going on with it, and so that's definitely on the heavier side of what I feel like is commonly seen on the over inking. And then this last one caught my eye. I think it's pretty cool. You can see up here above the word America, there's green inking, and then there's a little dot right here of green ink. It might be hard to pick up on the camera, but it does appear to be the same color as the serial number and the seal. So that's always cool to find. If there's any green inking outside of the serial number or the seal somewhere else on the bill, that is definitely something I like to hold on to and collect. So other than that, there weren't any other finds in that strap of ones. So I'm going to move on to this second strap, and I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to fast forward the video as I go through them, and then I'll slow it down to real time and go through anything that I may find. Alright, I am done searching through that second strap of $1 bills, and unfortunately I didn't find any star notes, but what I did find I laid out in front of the camera. So I'm going to start with this X note. Now you can see that there's an X at the end of the serial number, and these are more rare to come by simply because when they print a series, they start with the letter A at the end of the serial number, and once that block has been printed, they move on to the letter B, then the letter C, and so on. So they go in alphabetical order, and it's much more rare for them to get all the way up to the X block, and what would be considered the rarest is the Y block. So when I come across the X notes, which I don't come across them too often, I do like to hold on to them. Now, it's unfortunate that it has this little bit of a smear here, but there's not a lot I can do about that. I still like collecting these, so I'm going to put this one in my collection. I'll set that aside and move on to the next few bills. And having trouble picking them up. Here we go. So we're going to start with the over inking on these ones, and then we're going to move on to this one where it's not really over inking, it's more of a shift or kind of a double stamping of the one. And in my experience, this is less common to come across than like the bleeding of the over inking. So this one here, I'm inclined to hold on to. I just don't see this as often as I see the other style of over inking, and plus the bill's in pretty decent shape. For this next bill, this one has some pretty heavy over inking, and then also it's got two green ink dots above that letter G, and I think that's pretty awesome. And then the borders are clearly misaligned. So it's got a combination of things going on with the bill, and I think that makes it pretty cool. So I'm going to hold on to this one. Now moving on to, I'm going to move on to these. There are three more examples of the misaligned borders. So you can see that upper border more narrow than the bottom, and then vice versa on this one, and another narrow bottom on that one. So that's the bill that was over inked had more of a misalignment on it, but I just wanted to pull those out and show what I do watch out for. Now, these next four bills are examples of the gas pump error. So you can see that upper serial number, it has a dip in the center of it. And then this upper serial number, you can see that 6 is sitting low. So you can see that shift between that 6 and 5. And then on these next two, you can see that there's a dip in the center of that serial number. So nothing overly severe, but again, just pulling them out to show what I watch out for. And this bill is really beat up, in rough shape, stained. I'm not holding on to it, but I'm merely pointing out that it was, or I should say it is, a trinary, 3 unique digits in the serial number. But that's too bad it's so beat up, because I do collect these, but not this one. This one's going back. And then we've got more examples of the scattered ladder. So the serial number has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in it. And then on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now on this one, it also has 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a scattered ladder, it's actually a true ladder, but it's only a partial ladder. And I would say anytime it gets, for me personally, 5 consecutive numbers in a row, that I start collecting those. I come across the 4 consecutive numbers fairly often, not necessarily starting with 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it could be 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4 combination is a little bit more cool to have, but this bill is also beat up and it's got some tears up on the upper border, so I'm not going to hold on to it. I just wanted to point it out. So then moving on to this next bill, it's all 8 unique digits and pretty decent shape. And then this next bill, another bill that's pretty trashed, but it does have triple pairs, the 336600. It's just really beat up, and I would normally hold on to something with triple pairs, but this bill's pretty beat up, so yeah, that one's going back as well. And then this very last bill, we almost had a radar bill, and you can see here 675 576. So those first 3 numbers get mirrored, and then it's so if you were to, you know, I guess to explain it this way, if this 675 are up against the mirror, you would see 576. Now the true radar would be all 4 digits. So if it was 3675, it would have been 5763. So we needed that 6 to be a 3, or this 3 to be a 6, and then we would have had a radar. So it's a partial radar, but not a full true radar. Anyway, just pointing it out that we were almost there, but almost doesn't cut it. So anyway, we're moving on to that third strap of ones, and I'll do the same thing. I'm just gonna fast forward as I go through them. I'll bring it back to real time and go through anything cool that I might find. All right, I am done searching through that third strap of $1 bills, and I finally found a star note, which is pretty great. Here it is. Very happy to have come across it. It has a little bit of a cool serial number. It's got the 2 pairs, the 3s and the 9s, but nothing too crazy with that serial number. But nonetheless, it's a star note, and what I normally do at the end of the videos is look up the rarity of the star notes that I find. I usually find more than one, but I'm also typically searching through more than 3 straps of ones. So I do have a couple more straps on hand I'm going to throw into this video, so that hopefully I can come across at least one more, maybe if I'm lucky 2 or 3 more. So I have more to show at the end of the video. But for now, we're going to set this one aside and move on to the next bill. And this is cool. It's a repeating block of 3 digits. So you see that 339, 339. So I find these pretty neat. So we'll set that aside and move on to the next examples here of heavy over inking. Now this you can see on the lower serial number, on the specifically on the 7, the last 7, and a little bit on the 5. There may even be what appears to be on the upper portion of the first 7 some over inking, and you know, this typically doesn't occur on these last digits. It's, you know, usually in digit 2 and digit 3. So to find them on these digits, it's less common. So when I do find the over inking on these digits, I like to hold on to them. The bill is in fairly decent shape. It's got a little bit of creasing up here on top and some folding, light folding, but I'll still throw it into my collection. And on this next one, this one was interesting. You can see there's some green ink dots above the serial number, and then on the 7 and on the A, you can see some kind of hazing of the ink. Maybe a little bit of a double stamp on that A. So nonetheless, I think it's pretty cool when you find like the additional green inking spots that where they're not supposed to be. So I'm going to put that one also into my collection. And now the next examples here are some more scattered ladders. So you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one also has a triple 3, which is a little cool. And then on this next one, what do we have? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then this one also has kind of a little bit of a cool serial number. It's got the 2 pairs, the 3s and 7s. And then on this last one, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the next examples are some gas pump errors, and you can see right off the bat that 0 is sitting pretty low. That's definitely a more noticeable one out of the bunch that we've come across. And again, on this 3, you can see that's sitting up pretty high, and it's quite noticeable. So those 2 examples were pretty noticeable in comparison to what we found so far. And here's the lower digit, or lower serial number, the last digit, the 4, sitting up higher. So these are a little bit more on the severe side and may hold on to them. I know the bills aren't in the best of shape. So then this, we have a trinary, and this was so close to being a binary. Had this 4 been either a 1 or a 6, we would have had a binary, which would have been really awesome, but it's not. It's a trinary, and it's still cool. It's a little bit worn down. This corner is actually worn away, and yeah, not in the best of shape. I usually collect these. I don't know if I'm gonna hold on to this one. I might, but for now, we'll just set that aside and move to this next bill, which are all 8 unique digits. And then we'll move on to this last bill, which kind of caught my eye. You can see that upper serial number. It's shifted quite a ways to the right. It's almost touching this leaf. And it also looks like it's slightly tilted, like the right side of the serial number is kind of, shifted down. So it's a little bit crooked. And yeah, it just caught my eye. I compared it to some other bills, and it definitely is sitting over further than the norm. And I've come across a few of examples like this before, where the serial numbers, shifted way over like this, and I like to hold on to those because it's not something you see all the time. So we'll set that aside, and like I said before, I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple more bank straps of 1s into this video. Just give it some more substance here. And so I will go ahead and fast forward to the video, and I will then come back down to real time and go through what I found. All right, I am done searching through that 4th strap of $1 bills, and I'm glad I decided to throw in those couple of straps because I've already found one more star note. So that's pretty awesome. I will be adding that to the first star note, and at the end of the video, check the rarity of them. So I'll set that one aside for now, move on to the next bill. It's from 1995. I do enjoy collecting the bills from the 90s or older. I do realize it's in rough shape, has a stamp there. It's definitely seen better days, but it's hard for me to pass up a bill from the 90s. I don't know what it is about them, but I guess it's just the older currency. Even though it's not super old, I just don't come across a ton of them. So I hold on to them when I see them. So I'm gonna set that aside, move on to the next 3 bills. And these are going to be quads, 4 in the row digits. So we got 4 5s on this one. We've got the 4 1s and the 4 1s again. So these are cool. Anytime, for me personally, when it gets into 4 or more digits in a row, repeating digits, I like to hold on to them. This particular bill with the 5s, it's pretty stained and roughed up. I don't know that I'll hold on to this one, but these other 2 I probably will. So we can set those aside, move on to this one. So this one's cool because it's 5 in a row 7s, and it's got a pair, and it's a trinary, so 3 unique digits in the serial number. So this one's really awesome. The only unfortunate thing about it is that it does have a small tear on the bottom border, but because it does have the 5 in a row, for me, I'm gonna look past that tear and I'm gonna hold on to it for my collection. So now moving along to these, they are going to be gas pump. You can see that 2 is shifted pretty high. It's pretty significant. And then on this one, you can see the 3 on the upper serial number. That one's sitting low. So both are pretty apparent. The 2 is more apparent. This is definitely something I'll hold on to. And potentially this one in the back here, this 3. So moving along to this next bill, which is going to be a trinary, 3 unique digits. It's pretty messed up and stained. It's not something I'm going to hold on to. I do enjoy collecting the trinaries, but this one's just a little bit too roughed up. So we'll set that aside, move on to this next one, which is going to be a scattered ladder. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just out of order. And then we're going to move on to this next one, which it might be, I have to look it up, but it could be an important date in history, 1893, October 7th. It might not be, but they're worth looking into. Could be also considered a birthday note, but there's probably not anybody around anymore who was born in 1893. So we'll set that aside and look into that one later. And then this last one, it's kind of like a repeating digit, 8. So you've got the 80, 83, 85, 88. There's something a little bit cool about that. Sometimes I hold on to these. Again, it's going to depend upon the condition of the bill. This one's kind of roughed up. I might hold on to it, but anyway, we'll set that one aside and move on to this 5th and final strap of 1s. And as usual, here we'll fast forward through the video and bring it back to real time once I'm done going through it to see what I found. All right, I am done searching through that 5th strap of $1 bills. Unfortunately, no more star notes. So that was a pretty poor average we experienced there. Only 2 star notes and $500. Anyway, I did pull out a few things to go over real briefly. Here's a bill with the 8 unique digits. So we'll go ahead and set that one aside. We've got a couple more that have some heavier inking. You can see on the upper serial number that 9. And then on this one, it's on the 1. It's not really over inking or bleeding. Well, maybe it kind of is a little bit of bleeding. I was gonna say at first it looked like it was shifting. Anyway, that's those examples. Now, I found this note, the Merry Christmas $1 bill. Doesn't look like it had Santa on it. It looked like Tara and who knows, it was probably a celebrity of some sort. But I've heard of these, I've seen them, not in person, but there's a company that, I don't know if it's a heat transfer or what, but yeah, it adheres to the bill, but then you're able to peel it off, and it looks like this was almost all the way peeled off. But supposedly you're supposed to be able to peel it off without damaging the bill. But this is suiting because as I record this right now, it is actually 1 week away from Christmas. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. That was just kind of a funny find to come across in that strap. The next bill here, it was kind of interesting the way that these pairs are. Let's see, it's 3-3 and then a 5-5 and then a 2-3 and a 2-3. So you've got, you know, 3 pairs, and it was just kind of interesting how they kind of intertwined with one another. And moving on to this one, it's another bill where it's got that repeating pattern where it's 4-8, 4-2, 4-9, 4-6. So those is, like I said, they kind of stand out to me. And then the last one here is also what can be considered as a birthday note or maybe an important date in history. The 18th of May, 1918. So I'll have to look that up along with that other note I found earlier on to see if they might be any relevant, important dates in history. So now it's time to check out those 2-star notes to find out how rare they are. All right, it is time to check out the rarity on these 2-star notes. And I have got them pre-plugged into the My Currency Collection website. So we'll start with this star note here, beginning with 1183. It's a 2017. And you can see 2017, starting with 1183. Which has a run size of 3.2 million and total printed of almost 10 million. So it's on the less rare side. You can see here indicated by these arrows. If I scroll down a little bit, you can see it was in run number 4. And there you go again. There's an arrow indicating the run that it was in, run number 4, 3.2 million. So this one's on the less rare side. No biggie, because I still enjoy collecting these star notes. So now we'll move on to this one. It's a 2013 and beginning with 0332. So I've got that on the next tab, 2013 0332. And this one's pretty great because it has a run size of only 250,000. So that's awesome. Total printed about 3.5 million. So you can see here on the scale, on the run size, it's right in the middle of the rarity. So it's creeping up on that rarity level. And there was only 2 runs. It was in run number 2. And that was the last of the runs there, 250,000. So that's really, really cool to have found this one. I don't recall if I found this one in those first few straps or if there were the additional 2 that I added in, but nonetheless, pretty cool finds. So thank you again for watching.